Last week saw Adam Pearce fire. Last week saw Adam Pearce fire Bobby Lashley, shocking the WWE universe, and kicking off what is sure to be an interesting story. Tonight's show featured some big matches, including Bayley versus Becky Lynch in a singles bout. We also saw Dexter Lumis take on The Miz in a winner-take-all money ladder match, and the Street Profits battled Finn Balor and Damian Priest of Judgment Day. Let's take a look at everything that happened on tonight's show, for this is Ridiculously Raw. Welcome, everybody, to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and StreamYard.com today. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined by good old MF Michael Fletcher. We are maybe awaiting the presence of Michael Bullock, the Phenom. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we hope to have him back with us Wednesday night on Wednesday Night Madness. Tonight is going to be the final Ridiculously Raw of 2022. Reason being, WWE is going to be airing a Best of 2022 special next Monday night. And we're going to let you know how that's going to affect this program in just a little bit. We'll do that as part of our future content. I know we have an announcement about that. So, before we get into that, let's get into this final Monday Night Raw of the year from the Wells Fargo Arena in Des Moines, Iowa, on the USA Network, as always. And it started off, interestingly enough, with the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. He was backstage along with Paul Heyman. And Roman put everybody on notice. And so much to the point that the rest of the bloodline, the Usos, Solo Sikoa, and Sami Zayn were seen backstage taking out anybody on the Monday Night Raw roster. I mean, oh boy, you want to talk about putting people on notice. That's exactly what happened there. And oh boy. So that's all I can say on that. So, but we get into our first action of the night, and it was a tag team match. It was that big tag team match I mentioned, the Street Profits squaring off against Finn Balor and Damian Priest, and the Street Profits win the match in an even 9 minutes. But then we had a 2-for-1 deal because Akira Tozawa was responsible for the Street Profits winning the match. Rhea Ripley was so PO'd about it. Rhea Ripley challenged Akira Tozawa to a match, and it happened. And Rhea Ripley defeated Akira Tozawa 4 minutes and 55 seconds. Okay. The distraction finish, of course, that's par for the course. That's usually how Raw works nowadays. We get at least one of those every week. Both teams, all right, I'll tell you this. The match was relatively even, but Judgment Day definitely had control a little bit more than the Profits. Both teams put forth a great effort to deliver a fun and exciting bout. Even though they were the big guys in the match, Priest and Dawkins had some of the best spots. Montez Ford ended up getting the win for his team with a roll-up after Tozawa distracted Balor by throwing his drink in Dominic's eyes. And Ripley got in Tozawa's face and challenged him to a match right there. All right. That was a 3-star match. The first one. That was a 3-star match, the tag team match. This, probably about 2.25 to 2.5 for the intergender match. First true intergender match to take place on WWE television in many years. But don't get used to it. It felt like a one-off. It wasn't a long match. But it is fun to see Rhea Ripley beat up guys. That's all I can say on that. Couple of things to take away from the tag team match. Ford hitting one small counter before laughing in Priest's face, only to end up getting taken down by Priest. Again, was hilarious. The way Damian Priest sent Montez Ford over the top rope with a pounce was awesome. And the only observation from the intergender match was Ripley and Tozawa had a couple of awkward moments, but nothing too bad. So 3 stars for the tag team match, between 2.25 and 2.5 for the intergender match. So 50-50 booking. So Not much more to say. MF, interesting way to start off. The Chief gave the Bloodline his marching orders. They raised hell backstage, taking out so many of the guys backstage, and then Street Profits with a win over Balor and Priest in an even 9 minutes, and then Rhea Ripley knocking off Akira Tozawa in just north of 5 minutes in an intergender match.
Yeah, no, this was a solid opener for Monday Night Raw. I'm gonna say this. I'm totally in an agreement with you about the first bout. That was about three and a quarter, 3.5. The second bout, yeah, 2.5 stars. I thought they did really good. Um, I thought and you could see Tazawa's really kind of didn't really know how to react, especially he wanted it to try to make a contact with one of the with Rhea, and he was trying everything that he could do there, and it was not an easy decision to make. So I thought he did an okay job with it. Really, nothing more to add. So Anthony, it's yours.
All right, MF, set you up for the next relevant thing here. So far, the theme of the night, another tag team match, folks. As yeah, but then there was a lot of backstage stuff. And then we had the Good Brothers, Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson, squaring off against the Alpha Academy, Chad Gable and Otis. Good Brothers win the match, 9 minutes and 5 seconds with Magic Killer. MF, your thoughts?
No, I thought solid match. About I could say the same thing about maybe about 2.5 stars. It could have been a lot more better, yes, but I really thought that they did a solid job. I thought they did a serviceable job. But there wasn't really anything that was really amazing. I thought they did, like I said, I think they did an all right job. So really nothing more to add. So Anthony, it's yours.
Solid 3 on this one. Let's see. Fine. It was a fine match, but not as good as some of the encounters we have seen from these groups. OC was able to score the win with the Magic Killer in a relatively uneventful tag match. And Carl Anderson is a better technical wrestler than he gets credit for, but fighting guys like Chad Gable lets him show off those skills. So that's all I can say on that. So solid 3 stars for that. And then from there, I believe this is where we get into that winner take all, big money. Well, and then the Usos and Sammy cut a promo a little after the match because they went after the Good Brothers and the OC, and then they had a sit down interview backstage. Byron Saxton with Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss, and it was announced. How about this, MF? How about this for starting off 2023? The first Monday Night Raw of 2023 in 2 weeks, January 2nd, from the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee. It will be Bianca Belair versus Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's Championship. Oh, there's going to be more. Trust me. There was another bomb that was dropped for that same show later on. We'll address that soon enough. But they had the backstage moment and, well, the sit-down interview anyway. And then after the interview was over, Alexa Bliss knocks out Bianca Belair with a vase or a flower vase. Yep. So I think the Hocus, the Bray Wyatt character of Alexa Bliss is starting to come back again. So yeah. So that MF.
Well, I was gonna say before she did that, did you notice the monitor?
Yep.
How it glitched?
Yep, the Bray Wyatt logo.
The Bray Wyatt logo. That triggered it. So that's the thing you have to notice, or that's the thing you have to see, is that all the stuff that's been happening, everything of that metamorphosis of this Alexa Bliss is because that logo, whatever that thing of Bray Wyatt, has been triggering. And it's been week in, week out, whatever you want to say, and that's where we've been getting. So that's more or less what's been really going on. So, um, what's that going to lead to down the line? Who knows? But one thing is for sure, if there's one person that could definitely be a major threat to Bianca Belair, this is it. Alexa Bliss could very easily, especially with the way she's been, she could very easily become the Raw Women's Champion when this is all said and done.
Happy New Year.
We'll see.
Yeah, what a way to start off the new year. So, anyways, let's move on to the next match. This was another one. Well, here's the thing: when the preview came out earlier, the Street Profits versus Balor and Judgment Day, that was announced, or I should say, Balor and Priest of Judgment Day was announced. So that was the first of the three big matches. This was the second of the big three matches that was advertised ahead of time. The winner take all big money ladder match with 2 bags of money hanging above the ring. I think it was a lot more than 10 grand. I'll say that for sure. It was The Miz squaring off against Dexter Lumis, and The Miz wins the match 18 minutes and 20 seconds. Miz gets the money. All right. While this had some of the usual ladder spots, none of them were particularly dangerous when compared to previous bouts with this stipulation. It was a slow-paced match that had a few good moments between a lot of filler. The match picked up a bit after the break, but it still never reached the level of violence one expects from this kind of fight. Although we did get Lumis jumping off a ladder to put himself through a table after the Miz move, so that was fun. And just as it looked like Dexter Lumis would win, Bronson Reed appeared out of nowhere to yank him off the ladder and beat him down. He was clearly on Miz's payroll. After he took out Lumis, Miz was able to grab them all the money and win the match. The way Lumis followed the Miz out of the ring was so great. That little crab walk thing he does is genuinely creepy. Even with a cup on, having a ladder kicked into your nether region has to hurt. And the Miz teasing the crowd by pulling out a table and then sliding it back under the ring was hilarious. But this was about 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. I will give it that for the effort. And of course, for the big surprise return. None of us saw this coming. So there isn't much more to say. MF, Triple H, Papa H, he struck again. Another Triple H guy is back. Bronson Reed back in the WWE, and clearly he's going to obviously now be the heavy for the Miz. Business has picked up on Raw with the Colossus back in the fold.
Yeah, Bronson Reed had a pretty good run outside of WWE. Actually made a couple of appearances in New Japan as Jonah. That was his character over there. But you knew sooner rather than later that this was probably one of the names that Triple H wanted it to get, and especially after he got into Power and became the man of creative, that was the thing that we were hearing was, all right, now who are going to be the guys who are going to benefit? Then you started noticing some guys who were benefiting from getting the big rub from Triple H, and some of them have turned out really well. And then rumors that Bronson Reed or Jonah was on his way back to WWE. As a matter of fact, our former colleague who used to work with us actually dropped the bomb earlier this evening, saying that there was a chance that he was going to show up tonight, and that apparently a contract was indeed signed by Bronson Reed to join WWE. So we knew it was gonna. I found out almost. I'm not gonna say right away, but almost about maybe an hour, 2 hours before Raw went on the air. This news came out that Bronson Reed had signed with WWE, and that there was a rumor about him possibly showing up tonight. We didn't know at what capacity. Now we know. Now as the heavy for The Miz, somewhat of a bodyguard, and it also adds a little bit of a story here because of the fact that it will prolong the storyline with Gargano and Loomis together, and now you're also going to have Bronson Reed and The Miz together. I think you got yourself a pretty good tag team match coming down the pipeline in the very near future. So, nothing more to say. I thought it was a solid match. Great battle. 3.5 stars. And Anthony, I give it back to you.
All right, MF, here's a special for us. This is a match that not only you like, but I will also like as well. There was a lot of, we mentioned earlier about how the Bloodline went after the OC. And, well, AJ Styles was beyond PO'd about it. And what he decided to do was he had a confrontation with Adam Pearce backstage, and he says, I want one of them. I don't care who it is. I want one of them. And he's like, you know what? And then Adam's like, you know what? I'll give you Sammy Uso here tonight. So here you go. It was the phenomenal AJ Styles squaring off against Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn wins the match, 12 minutes and 15 seconds. He wins it with the Blue Thunder Bomb after Solo Sikoa nailed AJ Styles with, as MF always likes to say, the amniotic spike, a la the late great Umaga. So MF, Sami Zayn defeating AJ Styles, 12 minutes, 15 seconds. Solo Sikoa and that amniotic spike the difference.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the spike, this fight would have been so good. I'm so pissed that that's the route they went. 3 to 3.25 is my rating for the match. This match was getting good. It was getting really good. I felt like this could have been the fight of the night. It was getting the fight of the night level, and then they had to pull the rug out from under us with a little bit of the Bloodline chicanery, and it just kind of stunk at the end, and I was a little disappointed with it. But still solid match, good battle. I wish they didn't go down that route. They didn't need to do that. Sammy and AJ, just them alone, they would have tore the house down. But it is what it is. Nothing more to say. Floyo, it's yours.
Yeah. 3.25 to 3.5. These guys are both pros with a track record of being able to work with just about anybody. So obviously they were going to work well together. Fun back and forth match that saw both men hit several big moves. And the backbreaker AJ used as a counter looked like it was brutal for Sammy. He sold it well, but there was probably some real pain mixed in with the selling. AJ hitting the moonsault DDT from the apron to the floor was a great spot. Styles screamed out the name of his finisher before trying to hit it like he was an anime character. And Sammy winning with the Blue Thunder Bomb was great. He has not won with that move in forever. So I love that. So I'll give that 3.25 to 3.5 stars. So there isn't much more to say on that. Now we get into. All right. But anyways, looking at everything here. Then we had an in-ring segment. Seth Rollins interrupted by Austin Theory. And then just as they were about to go at it, there's the Bloodline again. The Usos show up. And then out of nowhere, Kevin Owens shows up. And that sets up a huge tag team main event for tonight. Seth freaking Rollins and Kevin Owens versus the Usos. And in another development, remember I mentioned earlier about how I had another bomb for that first Raw of 2023? Well, we already know it's going to be Bianca Belair defending the Raw Women's Championship against Alexa Bliss. But MF, guess what's been added to that? Austin Theory versus Seth freaking Rollins for the United States Heavyweight Championship. 2 huge championship matches for that first Monday Night Raw of 2023. Get ready, Nashville. Oof. That's all I can say on that, man. Oh, wow. So, and that was a solid segment as well. And as far as the segment is concerned, those were that was a very fun segment there. And as far and we move on now to the final big match that was promoted ahead of time. Get ready for this. Becky Lynch 1-on-1 versus Bayley. They say it's their first 1-on-1 match in about 4 years or so. It's Becky Lynch versus Bayley, and Bayley wins the match 14 minutes and 20 seconds as all right, the referee of the match, our boy Mr. Danilo Anfibio. He was the referee for the match. He ejected Damage Control near the end of the match, but Damage Control, they were not going, and they weren't going quietly, and they distracted him just enough for Bayley to nail Becky with a television monitor, and then hit the rose plant for the 1-2-3. So Bayley defeats Becky Lynch in 14 minutes and 20 seconds. So this was another about 3.5 star match. I'll tell you what. We know what the story is. These two have been working together since their days in NXT. They have been partners and opponents many times, so they had a wealth of chemistry between them, and everything they did had an extra layer of polish to it. They packed a lot into this match, and anyone who likes good wrestling should take the time to see this, even if they didn't watch it live. Dakota Kai and Io Sky were booted from ringside and then Becky ended up getting her wish. However, the ref Danilo Anfibio was too distracted to see Bayley use the TV monitor as a weapon. And then once he turned around, Bayley hits the rose plant for the win. The end was not ideal, but everything leading up to it was fantastic. Lynch gave a very good promo before the match. Corey Graves referencing World of Sport was a pleasant surprise. That exchange when Lynch was countering everything Bayley tried was great. And Bayley is so good that she makes a simple suplex look impressive. So not much more to say on this. This was one of the fights of the night. Give it about, I'll give it in excess of 3.5 to 3 3/4 for it. So I could have given it 4, but the distraction finished a little, but other than that, very good match between two very, very talented women, as we all know. So not much more to say on that. MF Bayley defeating Becky Lynch 14 minutes and 20 seconds using a TV monitor and then hitting the rose plant on the man for the win. Bayley, huge win for Bayley. I mean, it's been a while since Bayley's had a match of this magnitude in her win column.
Yeah, definitely a big victory for her. I know a lot of people are going to be a little peeved over the finish. And quite frankly, I don't blame them for being a little peeved. But that's how I don't mind the spotty finish. I think it brings it does a little something there. I don't mind it. But good solid fight. I really got nothing more to add. So tremendous match. Nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
All right, MF. And we move on to the main event of the evening. The Usos versus Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. Non-title match. Winners of the match in 10 minutes and 50 seconds. Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. KO. Pinning Jimmy Uso with a pop-up powerbomb. So, MF, what can I say? Kevin Owens gets the win here. Of course, that sets him up with huge momentum going into that most anticipated tag team main event on that Friday night, on that final SmackDown on December 30th, when Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn go up against Kevin Owens and John Cena in Tampa. So, big momentum boost for KO, winning with a pop-up powerbomb. It's been a while since he's won with that move.
Yeah, it's been a long while since he's used that back in the days of NXT, the pop up power bomb. But no, this was a solid main event. This is about three and a half stars. I thought it was a good fun match. It had its moments where it could have been a lot more better, but I thought it was solid for what it was worth. I'm just happy with the outcome. Owens really needed it. He got it. Now you're gonna see. Now let's see what the bloodline does to counteract that. And maybe we might get some kind of response on Friday. Maybe they'll claim that was a fluke. I don't know, but all in all, that was a heck of a main event. So yeah, Anthony, it's yours.
This was a 3.25, 3.5 star main event. Solid main event from four of WWE's most reliable performers. There may have been too much interference at the end, but chaos can be fun sometimes. And then after the match was over, Sami Zayn arrived and had a standoff with KO, but decided not to engage in a fight and walked away. Seeing Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens as a team again was pretty fun. They have great chemistry together. Rollins has great facial expressions for selling. He can convincingly look like he is in a lot of pain. Rollins is so great at so many things, but his super kick always looks a little slow for some odd reason. And when Rollins flipped over the top rope to take out the Usos and Sikoa, he almost went too far and cleared them completely. It was cool, but it could have been a disaster if he was off by a few more inches. So we'll give this about 3.25 to 3.5 for this effort. Overall, I would probably say somewhere in excess of maybe around 7.5, maybe 8 out of 10. This very easily could have been a holiday throwaway show, but with this being the final live Monday Night Raw of the year, they obviously wanted to close it out with as much of a bang as they possibly could, and it wasn't an overwhelming bang or anything like that, but we had several good matches. Some of them could have been better, AJ and Sammy especially, but we had several good matches here tonight, several solid to good matches, and some good angle advancement. And we have a huge double main event for that first Monday Night Raw of the new year in 2 weeks in Nashville, with the U.S. title and the Raw Women's title both on the line in that big double main event. So big momentum there. And so a solid way for Raw to close out 2022, and best of show next week. So, we'll definitely, we already know what we're going to do with that. I think it's obvious what we're going to do with that next week, and we'll let you know in a little bit in the future content. But for right now, around 7.5 to 8 or so for this show tonight. So MF, I mean, like I said, it very easily could have been, they easily could have been a holiday throwaway show, but no, with this being the final live Raw of the year, they wanted to do, obviously, they wanted to close out with as much of a bang as they could. So 7.5 to 8 for me. So MF, let's get a quick thought from you, and then I'll get into my Tony's take here.
Solid 7.5. That is definitely the rating I would give it. It was a pretty good show. I really got nothing bad to say about it. I thought it could have been a little better in certain areas, but overall they did a really good job. So nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
All right, MF, and now we're gonna get into, of course, what will also be my final Tony's take of the year. That will be back in the new year, obviously. So just wanted to set some things up here. All right. So I just wanted to look into that. So here we go. We're going to start things off with Impact Wrestling, of course. That went down this past Thursday night. And let me just find it here. Okay. It was a taped show from the Charles F. Dodge City Center in Pembroke Pines, Florida. And we started it off. Oh, this was the match that MF was waiting for. Eddie Edwards versus Delirious. And Eddie Edwards wins the match in only 6 minutes and 33 seconds. Ugh. Dicked for time, pressed for time, whatever you want to call it. I mean, that's horrible. However, it was a pretty solid technical match with Delirious being able to do his thing with someone as perfectly fine as Edwards. The style seemed to be pointing towards Eddie going clean, though that seems to be a rather fast changeover for him. Good enough stuff here, which shouldn't be shocking given who was in there. 2.5 to 2 3/4, but man, with more time, this could have been a lot better. And I like what I saw from Delirious. I mean, I never saw the man wrestle before. I know MF has seen him many of times in Ring of Honor with how religiously he follows that. And yeah, I like what I saw for the most part, MF, I'll tell you. So 2.5, 2 3/4 for that one. Then we had Bully Ray, delicious squash over John Skyler. He deliciously squashed him 1 minute and 5 seconds. But the post-match, though, great promo here between him and Tommy Dreamer. Great verbal exchange. And very well done there. Then we had Brian Myers and Matt Cardona, the major players against Decay, Crazy Steve, and Black Taurus. And the winner of the match and the major players win the match 7 minutes and 54 seconds. This is another 2.5, 2 3/4. You put a team like Decay out there to lose to the major players who seem like they are on their way to the tag title picture. You need to have them win something here, and Decay made the better team look good, even with Trey Miguel getting involved. Now move on to the next big match for the major players as they're starting their momentum. And then we had the contract signing for the big Knockouts title match at the Hard to Kill pay-per-view when Jordan Grace defends against Mickie James, and which is title versus career. And then Tasha Steelz and Savannah Evans interrupt, and it sets up a big tag team match for the next show, which I'll address in a little bit. And then we had Sami Callihan going up against Angels, that's Alan 5 Angels formerly. Sami wins the match, 6 minutes, 55 seconds. Theme of the night here, 2.5, 2 3/4. It was indeed a Sami Callihan match as he beat up the lowest level member of the design without much time to do it. Callihan is still going to need some help to fight the team off, but it's still going to be a former world champion against Diener and pals. How strong of a story is that going to be? Then we had the digital media champion Joe Hendry teaming up with Bhupinder Gujjar against Johnny Swinger and Zicky Dice. And it was Hendry and Gujjar in 3:14. This was the worst fight of the night. 1.5. I mean, it was much more about the angle in the match, and that's not a problem. Swinger and Dice not being able to beat up someone up on their own fits them perfectly, and I could go for Swinger on a losing streak as he tries to get his 50 wins for a world title shot. Moose versus Henry is an interesting way to go, though I'm not sure I can picture Henry beating him so soon. Just let Henry talk more, though, and he'll be all right. And then the main event of the evening for the World Tag Team Championship, the champions, Heath and Rhino, defending against Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley, the Motor City Machine Guns. The winners of the match, 16 minutes and 49 seconds. And new Impact World Tag Team Champions, the Motor City Machine Guns. They win the titles. And we always have to do it here. History was made, unprecedented crowning. The Motor City Machine Guns, 3-time Impact World Tag Team Champions, 1649. This was the fight of the night. Solid 4 stars. They didn't really have a choice here. As much, obviously you think of Heath and Rhino when they were the inaugural SmackDown Tag Team Champions a number of years ago. I don't think there was any reason to think they were going to be the next big thing. They had their feel-good moment with the win, and now the Motor City Machine Guns, a much more established team, get the titles back. Great main event and the exact right way to go. 7 out of 10. It was a nice show up and down, but that Bully and Tommy stuff, I mean, that was amazing. They talked about their time in ECW and just makes definitely a moment for us older fans. Josh Alexander versus Bully Ray at Hard to Kill should be pretty decent, but the build on the way there is rather rough. But another completely acceptable Impact show with its usual good points, but enough holding it back from being great. So 7 out of 10 for that. Thursday night on Impact Wrestling on Access TV at 8 o'clock, and then 8:30 on the Impact Insiders on YouTube, and then 10 p.m. when it gets uploaded to Impact Plus, we have another title match. The Knockouts tag team titles will be on the line. The champions, Rosemary and Jessica, defending against Deonna Purrazzo and Giselle Shaw. Rich Swann goes one-on-one with Steve Macklin. And then Jordynne Grace, the Knockouts champion, and her challenger at Hard to Kill, Mickie James. They will team up to take on Tasha Steelz and Savannah Evans. So that all goes down Thursday night at 8 p.m. over on Access TV. And the other order of business, of course, NXT Level Up. That went down this past Friday night. And let's see what we have in store. We had the Dyad squaring off against Lucian Prince and Bronco Nima. And Dyad win the match 5 minutes and 37 seconds. There was not much to that one. It was only a one-star bout. Then it was Ivy Nile one-on-one with Lash Legend. And Ivy Nile in 5 minutes and 4 seconds. It was solid as they just went at each other, and Nile hung in there against the larger opponent until she found an opening. Finish was good stuff with the counter into the DCL. 2.25 stars for that match. And then the main event, it was Andre Chase and Duke Hudson squaring off against Zion Quinn and Javier Bernal. And it was Andre Chase and Duke Hudson winning the match in 7 minutes and 15 seconds. It was fun as if most stuff involving Andre Chase and Chase U. They used the classic tag formula, had a hot crowd, and just had a simple and fun match. And it was the fight of the night, 2.5 stars. 6.5 out of 10. It's nice when each match gets better than the last. I enjoyed the final 2 matches, which makes this a solid show. And at some point soon, they need to do something with Ivy Nile on the main NXT roster. So 6.5 out of 10 for that. And with that, that will put the bow on this final Ridiculously Raw of 2022. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning into this show all year long, each and every Monday night. We look forward to bringing you more exciting content with this show come 2023, especially that big show in 2 weeks. So, all right. So let's set the table here. MF, I'm sure it's going to be the usual times for the shows. 10:30 on Wednesday and Thursday, and of course 11 on Friday. We know that. So
yes.
Yep.
No changes
on all
there.
That. All right.
Yep.
The time stay the same.
Yep.
All right. Yep. I just wanted to be 100% sure as always, so we can plug it. So, all right. So here we go. And then we'll get into the exciting announcement in just a moment. And I know MF's going to probably agree with it. So, all right, here we go. We'll next be with you Wednesday night, 10:30. MF, Braves Fan 95. He will have it. Wednesday Night Madness, NXT, AEW Dynamite, and we preview Thursday Night Football, a matchup featuring the Jacksonville Jaguars and the New York Jets. We'll get into that on Wednesday night. Thursday, the Week 16 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Thursday. Oh, man. A lot of exciting games. We got quite a few exciting games to get into on that one. Time permitting, we'll talk about the Jaguar-Jet game, and then some other great games to look forward to between Christmas Eve and whatnot. The game, obviously, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. We also have the Washington Commanders against the San Francisco 49ers, the New York Giants and the Minnesota Vikings, Seattle Seahawks and the Kansas City Chiefs, just to name a few. Maybe even the Las Vegas Raiders and the Pittsburgh Steelers on Saturday night. And then, of course, the Christmas triple header. The headliner, of course, the Green Bay Packers and the Miami Dolphins. And we're going to get into all that on Thursday night. Friday night, 11 p.m., the Cerebral Smack Talk. Friday night SmackDown, AEW Rampage. We'll get into that on Friday night. And next week, next Monday night, as we all know, Monday Night Raw, we're not going to have a live Monday Night Raw. It's going to be a best of show. It's going to be a best of the year, a best of 2022 for WWE. So I think it's only fair, MF, that we have our show at our end of the year show, our 2022 Talking Wrestling TXN awards, our 2022 awards, as we've always done at the end of the year. That will. Would you be up for starting the show earlier, considering that it's considering we have a best of show next week? I mean, that's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing when you said best of for WWE. Yeah, I was thinking this could be the Talking Wrestling TXN year end review for at least for WWE. Yeah, for the at least our wrestling show. Yeah, this could be our end of the year, and then maybe depending on what happens on Wednesday, we could set that up for our we could set that up as a or Thursday obviously will be not only the NFL, but we'll also have our preview for the New Year 6.
Oh yeah, that's right. New Year's 6. Yes.
So
yeah, I'll tell you what. We'll have a behind the scenes chat as soon as we're done here. We'll put our heads together and we'll come up with the content, and then we'll post it on our social media and let you fine fans know what's going on with our content for next week. So, but for right now, until Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Madness, Anthony Florio here for Good Old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, the Phenom Michael Bullock and the First Lady, the Twisted Angel Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it a Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days. And until Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Madness over on the MEFS channel, Race Fan 95, you've been watching the final Ridiculously Raw 2022 right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you, beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.